And happy Thursday. Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles, where fans become family. I'm Uncle Taz. I'm here with Donald. Rob is being held hostage at work. So we do wish him luck with his job today. I'll tell you that. If you know, you know. But what we do know is the ALDS is all set. The NLDS is halfway set. There'll be a winner-take-all later today between the Mets and the Brewers. And, Donald, I got to start before we really get into the Yankees. I have to say that this has probably been one of the better wildcard series as far as competition that we've seen in a while, despite the sweeps of the teams. It's really been anybody's game, each inning. And it's just shocking to see that in the MLB favorites with the Astros, the Orioles, and how they were supposed to really improve, how they kind of battled through the season, how quick they exited. I thought that was just as shocking as Detroit and the Royals winning. How do you feel so far about how the AL side of the bracket has played itself out?
I'm not surprised that the O's are out. That's something I actually predicted. I actually thought that the O's would lose. Because, frankly, the O's have not been a good team basically since the summer. Since the start of the summer, the O's have not been a very good team. When the Yankees had that really bad stretch in July, when I was in New York for the month, and the Yankees felt like they were losing like 2 out of 3 games like every week, the Orioles didn't take advantage because the Orioles were just bad, really freaking bad. And it's kind of carried forward. I didn't think the Orioles are a very good team. So I'm not surprised. I like the Royals team. I think the Royals are a very good team. And I think the Royals and the Yankees are a great matchup. It's a great matchup for baseball purists because you've got the big bad Yankees versus a Royals team that have a lot of athleticism and a lot of fundamentals, good pitching, play the game the right way. They got some really exciting players. So I think it's a great series. It's a great series for the purists. You got basically the contenders for the MVP competing against each other. You got Juan Soto versus Bobby Witt Jr. And Aaron Judge obviously is going to win, but you've got those guys all basically the 3 MVP contenders. But it's going to be Aaron Judge going to win, then Bobby Witt's going to be runner up, and then Juan Soto will probably be number 3. I can't see how it wouldn't be the case with those. But Bobby Witt's been amazing. Aaron Judge has just been better. But what a story. So they've got that great matchup. But I always thought that the Royals would dispose of the O's. I'm surprised at the Astros because the Astros have gotten hot. They've been hot. They started off terribly, but then they just took off. And obviously clinched the division. They look good, but hey, it's baseball, Susan, and the postseason is a different kettle of fish altogether. So I am surprised that the Astros are out. Great news for the Yankees. So there is a path for the Yankees, man. There is a path. This is as clear a path as it gets. And I have to say, if the Yankees get through the Royals, I feel very, very good. Very, very, very good about the ALCS. But don't want to count our chickens yet, but I think it's going to be a great series.
Yeah, we are not feeding into that, right? We're going to take one game at a time, one matchup at a time. That's it. That's all we can do. We're not feeding into we had said, we vowed that we would not do we want such and such team.
Oh, definitely not.
Because it always bites us.
To be honest, I've said all season I didn't want to face the Royals. So for me, the Royals are the biggest challenge.
I think I see, and that's the exciting thing about this postseason is because any team that can get through can take out the team in front of them. So there really is no clear-cut path for any team because somebody's going to be really disappointed, but there are fan bases that are really they're rallying behind these teams that technically, that quote-unquote not supposed to be there or snuck in. But no team did sneak in. Every team came in hot. The Orioles ran out of steam. The Astros, they just didn't have the pitching. Their bats went cold. But I tweeted it out on the Strike Chronicle account. And if you are watching us on Twitter, thank you for checking us out. Jump over on YouTube, hit that sub button, join the chat. We're going to be shouting everybody out in a second. I do see everybody in the chat. But the Bobby Witt, Aaron Judge, ALDS, I think is just what baseball wanted. It's great for the sport. And yes, I agree. Aaron Judge, clear-cut MVP. No debate on that. There's no argument about it. But that also, I don't say that to take away from what Bobby Witt Jr. has done in 2024. He had a phenomenal season. But I'm sorry, he's not Aaron Judge.
No.
But you got two dynamic players that are not one-dimensional either, that are going to be on the marquee going head-to-head. I think it's freaking amazing. I really do. I cannot wait for Saturday. And not to say, not to say that they're the Yankees are just going to roll over on them or they're just going to steamroll them. I think we're going to see. I think it's going to go to the limit. If before a pitch is thrown, we don't know what the roster is going to be yet, but I do think your little monster is awake.
That sounds very, very dodgy, John.
No, I think he's talking about his dog, maybe. I don't know. He was talking about the dogs, but really, before we dive into the matchup with the Royals, John, we have not really done a real roll call in a while. So let's give a shout out. Let's give a roll call out to everybody in the chat. John the Beagle Dad, how are you doing? Sean Browning, Mr. Barros, Demon D, Jared Medina. You got Sean Browning. So Grace Monroe is hanging out with us.
Cisco.
You got Ken. You got Acevedo. Acevedo, how you been, bro? We got Joe. We got Joan. We even have Lynn from the upper deck. And if you are not aware, or if you are living under a rock, do check out on Sunday with Lynn and Sierra, our upper deck show, for which is a female hosted podcast, which is the first one that ever came out on YouTube. So we take a lot of pride in being the first to have a female panel. So do show some love for the ladies. And also Jonathan, who's always in the chat. But it's, Cisco's joining us now. I just saw Cisco jump in. But do want to say,
man, anyone who is in the line of fire for Helene, my best wishes to all of you guys, everyone who's been affected. Send our love. I hope you guys are all safe. I'm glad that John the Beagle Dad is okay. So my love to all you guys. Hope it's all okay. Pretty scary times over there.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been devastating, but yeah, definitely. And if you are able to donate to any of the GoFundMe's or whatever, obviously we're not forced. We would never force anybody to or make anybody feel guilty about it. But it's if you do see some type of areas where you could donate, whether it's $1 or not or more. Definitely help people out to help them rebuild. It is they're in for a fight. They're in for a fight, and they're going to come out on top. Yes, definitely, Grace. Hit the like button for us. We would greatly appreciate that. And if you do want to get into the chat, like I said, all you got to do, doesn't cost you anything, but a tap of the finger on the subscribe button. And also want to shout out our brother NFE from the Strike Zone. Good morning to the chat. Good morning to the panel. Can't join you guys this morning. Let's get this channel to 1,000 subs. Yes, let's get the subs up. Also, big shout out to NFE. Really big, good, very, very good friend of ours to the show. That's why we kind of switched days. So we apologize. We weren't on yesterday, but this is where fans become family, and this is a family. So,
anyone joining us on Twitter, just hop on over YouTube, hit the sub button, and say hello to us in the chat. or even after the fact.
Right. So now that all the pleasantries are taken care of. Oh, and if you're listening to us on Sportswire Radio, we also do appreciate you listening on there as well. Tom
That's some
Bryce
good
does
stuff
a
on that
phenomenal job with the station.
Sportswire Radio. Good stuff on that radio.
Yep. So, Aaron Judge, Bobby Witt, are they going to live up to the marquee hype? I think that's the question to start with, because you have Aaron Judge, who wrongfully gets criticized for his postseason, because of those, that the batting average, which nobody wants to pay attention to, unless it serves their purpose to be critical. But I think that these two are going to tear it up. I think they're going to go blow for blow to be the headline, at the end of each game. Obviously, at Yankee Stadium, Judge does have the advantage. He's got the home crowd behind him. But it kind of sucks because Bobby Witt is such a likable player that you want to see him succeed, just not for these games. What do you think, Donald?
I think it's going to be a team effort, man. So I'm not going to focus on one individual. I'd say that if previous history is anything to go by, I love Stanton in this matchup. Stanton has been clutch in the playoffs. For me, he's been clutch all year, so I like him, and I love Soto in clutch situations. For me, he's got the best approach when it comes to runners in scoring position. He just knows exactly what to do, whether it's to draw a walk, and pass the baton to Judge, or hit with runners in scoring position to drive them home. It almost feels like he's batting 1,000 in these situations. He's so good. So for me, I think it's going to be a team effort. I'm excited to see Jazz Chisholm in big spots. I like him too, like his athleticism in the series. So I'm not going to focus just on Judge versus Bobby Witt. I think it's too easy to focus on Judge versus Bobby Witt. It's going to be a team effort. Judge will do his thing. I'm confident he's going to do his thing, but I think it's going to take those four guys, and Gleyber Torres needs to be setting the table. So it's a team effort.
Rob and I were talking the other day about the depth of the lineup, on Monday when you were off. But when you look at the top six of the lineup, where does the confidence level? Because the one thing that's always been a hindrance on the Yankees in the postseason have been timely hitting. That's been their biggest enemy, for success. But how do you see this year in comparison to the past? Where do you see the Yankees this time around that gives you more confidence with the offense?
Well, it's a better constituted lineup for one. Soto's made a big difference. Now you've got some power from the left side, which we didn't have in prior years. So we've got him. We've got Jazz Chisholm. Obviously, he's a huge addition. Really, he's been a spark plug in many ways, and I'm excited to see what he does. Because he's a big spotlight guy. He's all about the spotlight.
Yeah.
I think he was wasted in Miami, and the way he's played in New York in front of big crowds. So he's kind of like my low key pick to have a good postseason. I hope he proves me right. So yeah, it's a better constituted lineup. We didn't have the depth in prior years, but it's going to take more than just hitting. We need clutch pitching as well. We need clutch hitting is such a big underrated aspect because we haven't been very good in clutch spots in the postseason over the last few years, apart from Big G. So that's something that Aaron Judge needs to improve on. He's not been great in clutch situations in the playoffs, so we need him to have need to come up in big spots. But as I say, the reason why I mentioned before that I really feel it's a team effort is because even if, say, Judge comes through in certain spots, but not all spots, you've got guys like Soto, who's just freaking marvelous. He's a generational player, and I think he's the most complete hitter in the game. So I'm excited to see these guys. And plus, Soto has that championship pedigree. I really feel good about the guys that have championship pedigree. Soto has that, so I want to see him come through and
Yeah.
prove to everyone why he is generational and should be paid like $1 billion.
Yeah, I want to jump to some of these comments and questions that are coming up in the chat. Appreciate every single one of you. Yeah, Johnny saying he's hoped the bats are feasting. That's the biggest key. That's the key to the postseason of the bats. You know, those bloops and a blast really can define the outcome of the game, outcome of the season, and the series altogether. Um, Ken's asking, does DJ make a miraculous recovery and take over at first base for the postseason?
I hope not.
Um, yeah, I really hope not. And it's nothing against DJ, really, but it's just not his year. He's. I have more faith at first with Cabrera. I actually put together what
Yeah,
a lineup would be if you want to hear it. If I had,
yeah, we'll get to that, but let's
yeah,
focus
we'll
on
get to
this
that.
one for now.
Yep.
I agree. The reason why I said I hope not is nothing against DJ LeMahieu, as Tats has pointed out. I mean, DJ prior to this year was like one of my favorite players in the team.
Yep.
I love the guy. So disappointed how it's turned out for him. But let's be honest, you can't rehab in the playoffs. That is not the time to rehab. That's not the time to rehab from from an injury that's been apparently been ongoing since day one of the season. So that's not something that I want to happen in the postseason. You can't just make it all up. I'd be surprised. Plus, his play at first base wasn't actually very good prior to him going on the IL in the most recent stint. So he hasn't played that great at first. So I agree with Tats. I think that I'd prefer Waldo, and I think I'd prefer Ben Rice. So yeah, I don't think DJ LeMahieu should come back. I think we're pretty set. Hopefully Birdie makes a roster. I want to see his speed, athleticism, and versatility that can then help out. And the same thing for Waldo. He can give us that versatility as well. So I think we're pretty set until hopefully Rizzo might be. Do you think Rizzo will be okay for if we make it to the CS? Maybe, who knows? But I think that's what I would be focusing on right now. We'll get in the lineups towards the end of the show. So yeah, I feel that our biggest strength is the lineup. I think we've got the lineup advantage over the Royals, although the Royals have a very good lineup. What do you think is the Yankees' biggest weakness, Tats?
I think the biggest weakness is going to be the infield defense. We've seen too much inconsistency, and not enough backup with the bat to really soften the blow of the errors, because the infield errors are an issue, and that's what makes it all circles back to the first base spot. Because if you have Rizzo there, you feel 100 times more confident in that position at first. So it just opens up more of a Pandora's box of what can go wrong if they go wrong. The scoops in the scoops at first base. I don't think any of the three that are an option really are like, all right, as long as it's in it's in range of the base, they'll be fine. I don't have that. So we're gonna have to see. Good morning, Anna.
Good morning.
Also, saw that Raziel joined the show. What's going on, Raziel? Damian Serrano. Good morning, my guy. But I think that it's really everything circles around the unfortunate error with the injury with Rizzo, because that hole now and the uncertainty at first, it snowballs to everything else.
I completely agree. Again, that Rizzo injury actually hurts more than we think because Rizzo's scoops, even in that couple of weeks that he played before getting hurt again, was so important because he really made Volpe look even better at shortstop because there was a couple of short hops that he left that Rizzo cleaned up no problem. Same with Torres, same with Jazz. Like his solidity at first base was underrated. Now we've lost that, and now I'm worried about our infield defense again. I mean, Jazz is still not. He's been fine, but he's still not like an established third baseman yet. He still needs to completely master the nuances at third. Volpe doesn't have a great arm at short, and Torres has the range, but I'll tell you what, he has those mental mistakes, and that's something to worry about. And we don't have a natural first baseman. Say we go with Waldo, he's not natural first baseman, and Rice is a catcher, still learning the nuances at first. So there are worries there. I would say the infield defense / mental mistakes because I think our fundamentals have been a problem like all year, and it's cost us a number of games. Like we easily would have won 100 games easy this year if we cut out like half of those mental errors that we've made. As Anna says, no natural first baseman or third baseman. That's exactly it.
Well, the only one that really is, I mean, you could say DJ, but DJ was always more of a second baseman. But
absolutely, that's where he won his Gold Glove.
Yep. So yeah, no, it's such a freaking problem. It really is, and we could go all the way. We could keep rewinding it back on the construction of the roster and everything, but there serves no point now. This is the team. This is the team we have. These are the players that we have to ride with. My gut tells me they're going to just roll out Rice and hope for the best, and leave Cabrera as the utility bench player.
Trust me, Damian, we're going to get him.
We're going to get.
I've got a few minutes on the side for Clay Holmes. Don't you worry.
We got a special block just for him. No, I think I would really rather have Cabrera just because I want his bat in the lineup, but they're going to go with Rice. I don't see a way. This team too well. Rice is going to be the guy at first base, and Cabrera is going to be maybe you see him, maybe you don't.
Good point from Jason. The Royals are a fast team, so the throws will be rushed. It's possible. We have to be switched on, and it doesn't help that we don't have a natural first baseman. So I mean, these are concerns. These are definitely concerns. Let's say that Jazz Chisholm is a second baseman playing third, and we've got Volpe, who for me doesn't have the best arm at shortstop. It's a pretty mediocre arm, but he's had a very good year at shortstop. Of all our infielders, Volpe's probably been our best infielder in terms of defensive metrics, but still he's not got a great arm. And that's going to be a worry against the speed of Bobby Witt, especially. So that's something to pay attention to. And then Jazz Chisholm has been good. He's got the arm, but sometimes he has a little bit of wild throws, and I'm not sure who's going to be tidying them up at first. So, I mean, we're not without our flaws at all. So it makes this series very interesting, very intriguing. It can go a number of ways. Our power could just obliterate the Royals because we've got it. We've mentioned it before. That can happen. And their speed and athleticism and the fact that we aren't the best fundamental team could hurt us and cost us. So that's all to play for.
Yep. Want to bring up another comment. This one's from Ken. Other major concern is third base coach. Can't afford for him to get run his gun at the plate. Facts, Ken. And believe me, this is something I've been bitching about for a while. Is I want to just duct tape his hands to his chest. Stop waving everybody through. Right? Don't be so aggressive all the time to get the runner in. because this is the playoffs. These are not the teams that are just kind of playing out the season. This is the season now. You have to be, increase your baseball IQ tenfold in the postseason, because you'll screw yourself over, because they're going to be. You can't hope that they're
It is
just
Blue
gonna.
Throw Hat Santa. Yep. Yes,
Uh,
it is.
I mean, try not to mention his name too much.
We're not fans of his. Not a third, anyway.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
But
I would love
just,
to know the. I would love to know the stats, because I don't have the stats, but I'd love to know how many that he.
there's got to be a stat for that.
Yeah, how many is he just murdered at home plate by just sending them for no reason?
And like I said, in our previous awards, which the awards we will be doing our end of season, the awards for the last series, because we haven't gotten to that one yet, and we will be doing an awards for the season overall for the regular
That's right.
season. We
Which
will be
means
putting that tomorrow this year.
That means there's some homework for me, because I got to go through every episode over the last 6 months, 5 months, and get all the awards together, and then I'm gonna accrue who the fans voted as the MVP, low key, clutch pitching, and same for us.
I want to make it easier on you, because I want to do an awards of how we feel now that the season's overall as a whole, and kind of do the awards like we normally would, but with the season's view perspective. But also, if we could see, let's go with who got the MVP more, who got the pitching award more.
Yeah,
and do we want to do the L or the Hicks?
We'll do both. I mean, they're there.
Who took those awards the most? But I think the MVP. Who got the MVP vote more than that? Because I think it's going to be really close between a couple of people.
It will be, because I'll tell you what, I've already done the first couple of months, and so far Juan Soto is winning. So far Juan Soto is winning, but there's still plenty of room to play for.
Yep. And so, that will segue into my next question. How big is Juan Soto's postseason going to, his experience in the postseason, already winning a World Series, and his approach at the plate? How much is that going to be an X factor for Judge's success batting behind him in the lineup? Are they going to be able to carry over the way that they were operating through the first, through the regular season, where you saw Judge be a lot more patient in the zone, and just kind of waiting for the right pitch? And it's, I think that's going to be a big key, is staying patient at the plate, feeding off of Soto's patience, and letting that kind of run through the lineup, where they all go back to being patient, because that's when we were tearing it up, winning series after series to start the year off. And so, how much is Soto's experience and plate discipline? How is that going to carry over to the postseason?
As I mentioned earlier, I think it's a big part. The fact he's got championship pedigree is an underrated aspect. I love his approach at the plate, and that's why I feel that he's going to be great in the playoffs. He's got a great approach at the plate. He's incredibly unselfish at the plate. So if need be, he's happy to pass the baton. But if there's an opportunity to drive in runs, he'll do it too. So for me, he's kind of the X factor for me this series. Juan Soto. He wants to prove himself. He wants to put himself in the history books, whether he's here beyond this year or not. I think he wants to put himself in the history books, and I have a good feeling that he's going to be an X factor of the playoffs. I think his approach with runners in scoring position, I feel, is the best in the entire team, and that's not a shade on anyone else, especially Aaron Judge, who's obviously probably the greatest player in the modern era. But for me, I think Soto's approach is better with runners in scoring position. So I feel he's an X factor.
Yep. And this is another great point by Ken. He thinks the fourth hit is going to be more impactful than Soto. Without protection, bad guys will just intentionally walk Judge. That's true, but that's why the Yankees also had that X factor of having Stanton, who's been very good in the postseason for us. And you also have Wells, who's very comfortable in the cleanup spot. So you have two weapons right there. I would lean more towards Stanton just because he's got the postseason experience. Wells does not. So maybe Wells is somebody you bat in the fifth, in the 5 hole, rather than anywhere else in the lineup. This way, if Stanton does, he does have a tendency of the strikeout, but you also have another competent bat behind Stanton. And I think that just deepens the lineup. But we're going to get to the lineup. We're going to dive into the lineup later on in the show. I don't want to get too far ahead. Want to bring up
Damien says Big G is the X factor.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I love G-Force, so I'll never disagree with that.
Boop. No, and like I said, especially Stanton in the postseason. Don't count him out.
Oh, he's a machine. He's an absolute machine. And
he's had a phenomenal year. When he's been able to play, he's been effective. And so, Raziel, Big G always finds a way. It's coming here from Anna. Judge and Soto feed off each other. They will make each other better. They will feed off the competition and playoff atmosphere. And that's really what it is. Because they've almost had that mentality throughout the whole season, batting 2 and 3. You can see they feed off each other really well. And it's like it's a battle for the pitcher, having to face those two.
I do agree with Damien and Raziel that Big G is our best playoff performer for sure.
Well, that's why we kept saying everyone's like, well, he doesn't do shit in the regular season, but we all want to praise Judge for his regular season, and then they want to criticize him for his postseason. Well, which part of the season do we consider more important, the regular season or the postseason? Stanton showed up when the games have mattered the most.
Facts.
And it is a fact. The numbers back it up. Stanton's been fun in the postseason. But he's the one that everybody wants off the team. Meanwhile, for the last few years that we've been in, with the exception of last year where we didn't get to playoffs at all, Stanton's been the guy that's been, the most impactful. But let's toss him to the freaking side. Yeah, I'm on a tangent now. But
no, but at least we've always been consistent as a podcast. Yeah. We've always believed in G. We always have.
Well, I have faith in every player that's on there. I asked Rob this question the other day, Donald. I'll ask it to you now. When I mentioned Wells a minute ago, not knowing how Wells and Volpe, as the two new guys on the block, and going into their first postseason, can they have one of those postseasons where you're like, you go weather the storm of some of the inefficiencies during the regular season, but they show up almost like a Stanton effect. You don't know what you're going to get in the regular season, but come October, they're going to be there. How important is this postseason for these two guys to kind of win the fans back over that have some doubts?
I don't think if there's anyone doubting Wells, you'll need to get your head checked, Ken. Who honestly has any doubts about Wells? I mean, Wells is a +11 defensive runs saved as a catcher. He's been great as a catcher. His pitch framing is great, and his offense has been great. And he possibly could have won Rookie of the Year had he not gone in a slump in September. It was the worst time to have a slump. But his energy, the work rate that he does behind the scenes with the pitchers has been amazing. There is no doubts about Austin Wells. Anyone who has any doubts about Austin Wells, I want to know who they are and what their Twitter handle is, so I can attack them on Twitter. So I'm going at anybody who doesn't like Austin Wells. Uncle Tats, who are you aware of that doesn't trust Austin Wells?
No, I'm just because they don't have any postseason numbers. They weren't attacked on social media. It's there are fans that, I mean, I don't know fans that really going after Wells, but he also did not, because they didn't make the playoffs last year. We don't know the impact he can have on a postseason series.
The only person that has something to prove ain't Wells, is Volpe. Volpe has everything.
I think Volpe's the bigger one, but I'm just putting Wells into that discussion because I think the way he could perform, if he can carry over into October, it really just solidifies his future as a Yankee catcher.
Oh, yeah.
Drop the mic. The job is mine, and you all can go F yourselves. Where
Volpe
does have the bigger cloud over his head. I can't deny that.
Volpe has far more to prove. I have doubts about Volpe. I really do. I have doubts about his ceiling. I have doubts about his arm. I have doubts about his offense. I don't like his swing. His swing is too long, and it's too prone to getting in terrible slumps. And he struggles with pretty routine fastballs, so it's not a great sign for Volpe defenders. I think the Yankees have given him more rope than anyone else, and they've given a shorter rope than a lot of people, and it's kind of unfair. So yeah, he's got a lot to prove. But if Volpe can have a good postseason, then that'll certainly prove me wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, as a podcast, Rob is a big supporter of him. Tats, you're pretty solid behind him. Have massive doubts about this guy. Not as a shortstop, just as an overall player. I think the fact he's got his second worst OPS among shortstops this year says to me that he is a pretty mediocre ceiling for me. So I'm not that high on Volpe. So for me, Volpe has a much more to prove than Wells. That's my answer.
Yeah, and Greg, you're right. Volpe needs to step up more than anyone. And I'm kind of picking off Volpe because, I made a comment, a few weeks ago on the show about, my confidence in Volpe and I'm going to ride or die with the kid. So I'm watching. I don't want to have. I want to be able to say I told you so because I never get to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually I make outlandish statements and then I'm just completely wrong. And Rob and Donald, for the last 5 years of working together, enjoy every second to say, what the hell, why are we working with this guy? And you guys in the chat like to come at me too. But it's all in fun. That's the fun of being a sports fan. That's actually a lot of the fun of interacting with people within your own fan base. Because everybody's going to have a different opinion. Everybody's going to have that one player that they like more than another. But when the games are being played, you're rooting for all 9. You're rooting for all 26 guys on the roster. And that's what it comes down to. There was a comment earlier also that not every player is going to, not every great player is going to have great postseason numbers. So not everybody is going to be that solid rock star with the numbers. That's just the reality of it. But you just got to take it. The hitters one at bat at a time. Don't worry about in the first inning how what you're going to be able to do in the 8th or 9th. Just take it one step at a time. From Jason here, he's like, I think Volpe will have a good postseason. Every time he gets time off, he comes back hot. That is a very good point, Jason. He does have a tendency to show up. When he gets hot, he gets hot. Jonathan, I know you're asking about Wells or Heel for Rookie of the Year. We'll be diving into a lot of those with when we have Rob back with us. We just kind of want to preview what the Yankee expectations are, how the postseason has gone, because we will be doing another show tomorrow, just so everybody knows. Our Friday show will go off without an issue. Maybe tomorrow we'll even dive into the pitching a little more, that the 3 of us will be sitting together.
Well, let's have a look and see the matchup between the Royals and the Yankees, because
go ahead.
be very interesting. Let's have a look at the matchup. So we got who has from the Athletic article. They've got a breakdown, really good breakdown for those that are subscribers of the Athletic. So let's have a look and see what they have here. Who has the edge? So runs per game, the Royals are 13th. The Yankees are 3rd. So the Yankees have that edge, runs per game. Starting pitching ERA, the Royals are considerably better. 3.55 ERA, they're 2nd. The Yankees are 11th with 3.85. So starting pitching is the edge to the Royals. Relief pitching ERA, it's a big advantage for the Yankees. Royals relief pitching ERA is 4.13, which makes them 20th. The Yankees 3.62, which puts them 6th. And the OPS plus is actually a big advantage to the Yankees. Royals have a 98 OPS plus, which is below average, 19th. And the Yankees have a 115 OPS plus, which is well above average. That's 4th. So the Yankees have the offensive advantage. I think that's pretty clear. The Royals have the starting pitching advantage in terms of ERA. Although that is an overrated stat, because if you really look at it, we've got Garrett Cole, we've got Luis Gil, we've got Rodon. Those are all guys that you trust. But they do have the advantage in that regard. But we have the relief pitching ERA advantage. But again, it's overrated because we don't because obviously we've got Clay Holmes, who's a massive issue. And he's obviously someone that you want to avoid. So you got that, right? Then let's have a look and see who they have as the Yankees' top performers. Obviously, it's Aaron Judge, Garrett Cole, got Luke Weaver in there. Austin Wells is in there in terms of fielding. He is our best fielder, Austin Wells, with 11 defensive runs saved. He's our best fielder, apparently. Luke Weaver is our best reliever with a 2.89 ERA, obviously. Garrett Cole's our best starter. We know that. Aaron Judge is obviously MVP. Let's look at the Royals' top performers. Bobby Witt Jr. Is the best offensive player. That's not a question about that. He's got a 977 OPS. Their best starter is Cole Regans, whatever. He has had an incredible year, 223 strikeouts, almost 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. He's a monster. He's going to be he's going to be such a big matchup. I believe it's game 2 that he's matching up against Rodon. So that could be a decider of the series. They've got Lucas Erceg, 2.88 ERA as a reliever, and their best fielder is Bobby Witt Jr. So those are the top performers in those particular areas. I would say the Yankees have the advantage, but it's very close. And if I was to be honest, I would say one of the teams I didn't want to face in the postseason is the Royals, because they're such a good team in terms of the playoffs. I think they're an excellent team for the playoffs. You know, they've got athleticism, they got the defense, got a good roster, well-managed club, and not an ideal matchup for us, actually.
No, I don't think any matchup is a good, favors one or the other. I've been very consistent with that. We play the teams we play, and we play one game at a time. That's my approach. I'm not straying from that. I want to bring up this question here from Anna. Excuse me. Is Bobby Witt Jr. faster than Birdie, Volpe, Jazz, and Martian? Absolutely, he is. He actually was clocked as one of the fastest from home to first. His sprint speed is far superior. I forget the numbers off the top of my head, but they broke it down on the broadcast, and it was not even close to the second fastest.
Jazz is fast though. Jazz is,
but it's not even. But Bobby Witt's numbers are hard. It's unreal. It's almost like he was made in a factory. It's not fair how fast he is.
Sal Perez, he is a yes.
Yankee. You take his bet out of there, that's a plus for the Yankees if you're able to keep him out of the equation.
If you were to name like the biggest Yankee killers in the majors, one would be Sal Perez. Yep. I would say Duran, obviously the Red Sox, but
Altuve kills everybody in the postseason. Actually, speaking of, I do want to bring up this comment from Willard. Right, what's going on, Willard? The Astros are out, and it kind of sucks. But as a Yankee fan, I'm not going to say I'm sad that they're gone. Because I think the Tigers helped Astros in a long way. Plus, this offseason, Astros will get healthy and probably rebuild. And next season, we'll have.
Who does Willard root for? Is he a Yankee fan or an Astros fan?
He's an Astros fan.
Astros fan. I was wondering why he was talking about the Astros.
But he's very respectful. He makes solid contacts, comments, solid takes. We love Willard. He's flexing in Houston. We'll remember that. I think that I don't think this killed the Astros run. I really don't think so. They had a lot of injury issues throughout the year. They stumbled out of the gate. I mean, the Yankees took the first 4, and every time I think of it, I laugh because they're with John and Susan in the booth when they made the joke, "Let's get out of here" before they realized the season started. But no, the Astros are not. They're going to be back next year. There's no doubt about it. I don't think
they're always there.
They're always
there.
Yep. Just like the Yankees, it's the postseason is almost like a birthright for them now. Not to the Yankees level because of the history, but in the short history from this century, when you think of MLB playoffs, you think of the Astros. I'm sorry, it is what it is. That's just the truth of it. I was throwing it here. He's like cheered and laughed like a villain when the Astros lost. Sorry, Willard. No, look, believe me, I'm not pissed off that I'm not sad that they're gone, but I know they're coming back.
I'm shocked that they're not in the CS.
I was shocked that it didn't go to the third game.
They've been in the CS for 7 straight years. I can't believe it.
Yeah, the first time since 2016.
Wow.
And the other thing they mentioned on the broadcast was that with the Orioles, that they have not won in a postseason game since 2014. Now, I know there was a big drought in there where they really were rebuilding. They almost were like, quote unquote, tanking every season.
Love it.
But that was another shocking stat that I saw. I wasn't expecting that.
That's great.
Like they didn't ever win, and I'm like, they ran it through. I'm like, holy shit! Like they haven't won anything, and we were worried about that. But I mean, Baltimore owned this in the regular season, but October is what matters, and I think the fact that the Yankees get to face the AL Central regardless, which we did very well with through the regular season. And yes, the atmosphere is different. The numbers are different now. The stats are in a different category. But I think I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
I like the. I like the AL Central matchup with the Yankees.
Let's give a shout out to the San Diego Yankees. They've been great. Kyle Higashioka, salute to you, bro. Salute to the home run stroker. And, of course, Mike King is a monster. 7 innings. Shutout. Monster. Absolute animal. Salute to the San Diego Yankees. I believe Tom DeLonge of Blink-182 gave his guitar to Kyle Higashioka for his home run.
Yeah, I know he threw out the first pitch. Yeah.
That's cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I was gonna bring this up if we had time, but being you did with Michael King, the amount of people I saw, I'm gonna say a lot, but of the people I saw making the comment, this is why we should have never traded him. I'm like, you realize that we have Juan Soto because
right.
Really? This is we're gonna criticize the trade now? Because he had one good postseason, and I hope he has many. I really do. I saw one comment. He's like that ex that you really hope does well in their future. Like that's King and Higashioka. But there was no ill will. They did nothing wrong to us fans. They were great. But stop, please. There's no reason to second guess this trade now.
Personally, if I could have held on to Higashioka as our backup catcher, I would have done so. I preferred him to Trevino. But I'm very happy for him.
Yeah.
really. And to be honest, it was the perfect trade. If you're to dream up a trade, I think it would be the perfect trade. If you're a baseball fan, that
That was a win-win trade.
both teams have benefited from it. It's a win-win. The Yankees wouldn't have gotten here without Juan Soto, and the Padres wouldn't have gotten past the first round of the playoffs without King and Higgy. So it's a win-win for both teams.
We've also benefited with Grisham. He was
I like Grisham.
He had some really clutch moments with the glove and the bat.
I stand by that the Yankees should have done a lot more to get Grisham Verdugo's at bats. All those months where Verdugo hit nothing, I would have given those at bats to Grisham. I absolutely would have.
Yeah, Jason's throwing in here because this was the other. I don't know if you were aware of what the Diamondbacks owner said about Montgomery. How he should have never made that move. He should have listened to his front office because the owner's the one that pushed for the trade, for the signing. And then it pretty much threw Montgomery under the bus, saying how terrible of a move it was to sign him, and pretty much publicly just shamed him, Montgomery, for his numbers. I'm like, whoa! I could have, and Montgomery did nothing wrong. He had a bad year.
But he did nothing wrong because he didn't.
You weren't signing Kershaw. You weren't signing, Nolan Ryan.
It's unfair to sign somebody after spring training, after pitchers and catchers. You need to sign pitchers early in the offseason to allow them allow them to work out. You can't just sign dudes and expect them to, it's not like a freaking computer game. You need to get your arm in shape.
Yep.
That's why you need a full spring. Pitchers need a full spring. Batters don't need a full spring. Pitchers need a full spring. I keep saying it. Blake Snell struggled for the first month or two. Wasn't his ERA like 7 or 8 for the first month or two? Then he kind of got it together, Blake Snell. He was pretty good towards the end of the year, but
even Cole wasn't as sharp when he got going.
Because he didn't have a spring either. That's on the owners. That's on baseball's free agency right now. That's on the lack of spending. That's on all those issues. It ain't on Montgomery. Poor Montgomery, man. He did nothing wrong. How about you sign him? How about you prove to him that you wanted him and then sign him months prior, and he would have given you his best stuff.
Yeah, and Jason even added to it, saying that the owner was saying he hopes Montgomery opts out of the G. Because that's the other thing.
Asshole.
You got a 2-year deal. It's not like the guy's going to walk and you're never going to have to see him again. If he opts to play and kind of reset his value and wants to play for the Diamondbacks, now you got to work under an owner. I'm telling you.
I really hope that Monty does. Monty will obviously.
The players union has to make a statement about the owner, about the owner's comments. I'm sorry. That's Tony Clark has to say something about the owner going public about something like that.
Monty will come back.
That's shameful. You don't do that.
I think Monty will prove him wrong next year. He'll have a better year wherever he goes.
Yep. But now let's get to the elephant in the room. And that was the statement yesterday that Matt Blake and Boone, with their confidence, their utmost confidence in cardiac Clay Holmes, saying how trusted he is in high leverage spots. Did we watch the games this year at all? Did you watch a single one of them? Don't put him in high leverage spots. Keep him as far away from the ninth inning as freaking possible. Weaver's done just fine. He can handle it. Yeah, and we don't want Clay anywhere near a close game. Because there's zero faith in Clay Holmes right now.
No. I mean,
That's it. That's it.
To be fair to Boone, I understand that he can't go out publicly and say
Yeah,
anything about Clay Holmes.
but don't pump him up either, like we're
Well, you
idiots.
don't need to pump him up, no. But he's trying to boost these dudes' confidence so that they're all singing from the same hymn sheet and they're all feeling like they're part of it. I can sort of understand that, but if the Yankees do put him in high leverage situations, they will regret it.
This is a great comment. I think you're right, Raziel. I don't think he has confidence in himself anymore.
Facts. Exactly, Jason. Exactly, Rajiel. Even Clay Holmes doesn't have faith in Clay Holmes. Exactly.
And that's a
Let's
problem.
be honest. As soon as Clay Holmes puts a runner on base, he falls apart. He looks very worried, and he is a problem. We can't do this. We've got a golden opportunity. Don't waste it on Clay Holmes. He's not worth it. Don't try and prove anything. He's toast. He sucks. He stinks. I want nothing to do with him. Put him in situations where he can't hurt us. Luke Weaver needs to pitch multiple innings. If we're in a situation where we're up by a run going into the 8th inning, then have Luke Weaver pitch 2 innings. Just do not have Clay Holmes in the 8th inning. And certainly not the 9th inning. If they put him in the 9th inning, oh my God.
No, and to Ken's point that, he had an up and down season, he did. Believe me, in the first month of the year, we were praising, we gave him a lot of good awards. He had the first month with a 0 ERA. I don't think he had his first earned run till June. I mean, he started off so well, and he was proving us all wrong, like we didn't know what we were talking about. And then it was, will the real Clay Holmes please stand up? And he did. And that's what we had in the second half. I mean, 11 blown saves. Yes, you could say that 6 of them would due to defensive errors. But that's still too many. That's still too many.
Years ago, when I was working for the Boys in the Big Apple podcast, shout out to Alex and Luca, there was a live stream that we called. And of course, Clay Holmes blew the game. Of course he did. And this was a couple of years ago. And I was shouting down the camera, going, I fucking told you about Clay Holmes! I told you about Clay Holmes! I've been saying this about Clay Holmes since day dot, and no one wanted to fucking listen to me. Nobody wanted to fucking listen to this guy, but I fucking told you guys about Clay Holmes. He couldn't close games. He couldn't do it. Aaron Boone, nobody listened to me. But now, actually, I was right. Fucking
it's one of those,
right?
when he's feeling it, you want to give him a game or two to give, because you don't have somebody else available, fine. But no, it's keep him as far away from closing as possible. But tomorrow we will be getting a little more deeper into the pitching alignment. We'll come up with, I'll give out my lineup, maybe everybody that comes into the chat, what would your lineup be? And we'll see how close we all are and see how much we're all thinking alike.
Maybe we'll find out more about what roster is going to be.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of like glad that you wanted to put it off a little while, because it does give us another 24 hours to figure out if the Yankees figure out what they want to do. But we will be breaking down a little deeper into everything tomorrow with the lineup, the pitching.
What I will say is, listening to Aaron Boone and Talking Yanks, I quite like how from what I gather, everyone's very much in work mode. Like, there hasn't been much time off. They've all been working hard. They've been getting games in. They've been getting practice in.
I think they've worked some minor leaguers up to kind of keep,
Yes,
there's fresh.
They've had games. They've actually had. Apparently, they had fundamentals work through.
Thank you, fucking time.
So listen, maybe Aaron Boone has them focused, and if that's the case, then I feel pretty good. Because I think the only thing that can stop us from making the World Series is ourselves.
Yep. I think that's something every fan is in lockstep with, Donald. I don't think we're looking at any of these teams going, man, that's going to be a hurdle. No, we're the only hurdle that we have.
Well, no, they're a hurdle, but they're beatable.
Yeah,
Everything's beatable. No, there's not a team in the American League that's unbeatable. We could do
not
it,
even the National League.
but we can beat ourselves.
Yeah. But that is going to wrap things up for us today. Hope everybody did enjoy the show. We enjoyed having you. We enjoyed all the comments from everybody in the family. If you want to become a part of the family, all you got to do is hit that sub button, hit that like button, share us out with your friends, your family, even the strangers on the corner. And as I always like to say, wear those pinstripes of pride and play on.